Have you ever ignored a warning because it sounded too strange to believe? Today's story comes from Himanshu, who personally shared this terrifying experience. According to him, everything you're about to hear happened to his family in 2017. At the time, Himanshu was just 10 years old. His father, Rajesh Jha, had moved from a small village in Bihar to Ranchi, Jharkhand, where he made a living selling fruit. Every day, he traveled nearly 6 miles from home to his fruit stand near a hospital in the Haisha area. Eventually, he realized the daily commute was wasting valuable time, so he rented a 3-bedroom apartment only a short walk from his shop. The family, Rajesh, his wife Rani, Himanshu, and Himanshu's uncle, settled into their new home. For the first 3 months, everything seemed completely normal. Then one evening, Himanshu's grandfather came to visit. After dinner, the family sat together in the hallway talking. Suddenly, the grandfather interrupted everyone. "Quiet! Do you hear that?" Rani paused and listened. She could hear voices too, but Himanshu couldn't hear anything at all. Rani assumed people were working somewhere behind the house. The voices seemed to be coming from the open field beyond their backyard. Only seconds later, the electricity went out. Darkness swallowed the house. At that exact moment, a dog somewhere in the field began howling. Now the mysterious voices sounded even louder to Rani and the grandfather. Curious, the old man walked onto the rear balcony overlooking the field. Everything outside was pitch black. He stared toward the middle of the field, nearly 70 yards away. No people, no lights. Yet he clearly heard 2 people whispering. The voices were muffled, almost as if someone were speaking with their mouths covered. He stood there for several minutes trying to understand the conversation. Finally, he reached into his pocket for a cigarette and called inside. "Ronnie, bring me a match!" Before she could answer, a woman's voice suddenly whispered directly into his ear. "We live in the field. Come with us." The voice sounded so close it felt like someone was standing right beside him. He spun around immediately. No one. Not a single person. Shaken, he lit his cigarette and cursed loudly into the darkness before returning inside. Everyone dismissed the experience as imagination. But that was only the beginning. Over the following weeks, strange things began happening almost every day. Himanshu became terrified of being alone. Whenever he studied in his bedroom, the temperature would suddenly drop without warning. It felt as though someone invisible had quietly walked past him toward the hallway. He would run to his mother, convinced someone had just left the room. She always reassured him. "It's nothing. You're imagining things." But she wasn't convinced herself. While cooking, she constantly heard dishes crashing in the kitchen. Sometimes she heard a broom dragging itself across the hallway floor. Each time she investigated, nothing had moved. When she mentioned these strange events to neighbors, their reactions chilled her. One neighbor asked, "You're living in that house?" "No family has stayed there longer than 6 months." Confused, Ronnie confronted the landlord. Instead of answering honestly, the landlord smiled. "Don't listen to jealous neighbors. Your business is successful, and people envy you." Wanting to believe her, the family ignored the warnings. Months passed. About a year and a half after moving in, Ronnie became pregnant. The moment the landlord heard the news, she rushed upstairs to the apartment. But she refused to step inside. Instead, she asked Ronnie to come outside. Looking directly at her pregnant belly, she quietly said, "Go back to your village. Don't return until after your baby is born." Ronnie was stunned. "Why?" The landlord refused to explain. She simply repeated, "Please leave this house." Then she hurried away. It was the only time the landlord had ever visited them personally. Still, the family stayed. One night, after drinking heavily, Rajesh came home and relieved himself on a strange rectangular structure built into the corner of one bedroom. He was too intoxicated to think anything of it. Hours later, around 3 in the morning, Ronnie woke up screaming in unbearable pain. Doctors said she needed immediate treatment at a larger hospital. But because Rajesh was drunk, valuable hours were lost. By the time neighbors intervened and forced him to act, morning had arrived. Thankfully, Ronnie survived. She gave birth to a baby girl. But after returning home, something changed. Every night Ronnie refused to sleep. She clung to her husband in terror. "She's standing over there. She's watching me." Night after night, she pointed into empty corners of the room. No one else could see anything. 3 months later, the unimaginable happened. Early one morning, Rajesh left for the fruit market. Himanshu went to school. During class, a worker called him to the office. Waiting there was one of his father's employees. The man's face was pale. He looked at Himanshu and quietly said, "Your baby sister is dead." The world stopped. After the funeral, Ronnie returned to the family village for a short time. Everyone blamed the tragedy on fate. But the strange events inside the apartment only became worse. Weeks later, Himanshu was home alone during a heavy rainstorm. The electricity suddenly failed again. Terrified of the darkness, he started his father's old motorcycle and used its headlight to illuminate the room. Then, the temperature dropped. The same icy feeling surrounded him. A loud pounding exploded from the front door. Bang! 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 As the knocking grew louder, the motorcycle's headlight began fading. Too frightened to move, Himanshu covered his face with his hands, peeking through his fingers. The pounding stopped. Slowly, the front door creaked open by itself. A tall black shadow entered the room. It looked exactly like a woman. She moved silently toward him. Closer, closer. Her arms slowly lifted, as though reaching for his throat. Himanshu screamed. He bolted out the front door barefoot, running through the pouring rain toward his father's fruit stand. His parents saw him racing down the street in absolute panic. Before they reached him, he collapsed unconscious on the road. When he woke up, he described everything he had seen. That was finally enough. The next morning, Rajesh called a local spiritual healer. The man searched every room before stopping at the same mysterious rectangular structure. He became very serious. Then he told the family, "A spirit lives here. It killed your baby. If you want to survive, leave this house immediately." He performed a cleansing ritual, gave each family member a protective talisman, and warned them never to remove it. Within 2 days, the family moved out forever. Only afterward did they learn the horrifying history of the property. Years earlier, a husband and wife had lived there. Their marriage was violent. While the woman was pregnant, an argument turned deadly. Her husband strangled her to death. Instead of reporting the crime, he secretly buried her body in the field behind the house. Many believed her restless spirit never left. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, one thing remains undeniable. The neighbors warned them. Even the landlord tried to convince them to leave once she learned Ronnie was pregnant. If they had listened sooner, perhaps their baby daughter would still be alive today. So what do you think? Was this truly a haunting? Or was there another explanation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to subscribe for more true horror encounters. Until next time, stay safe, and never ignore a warning that everyone else is too afraid to explain.